Hey guys, and welcome to another Escape Wheel Watch Review. Today we're looking at the Seestern 62 Mas homage. You can pick this up on AliExpress from the Seestern Mechanical Watch Dive Store. You can also pick it up at seesternwatchco.com, as well as, I believe, WR Watches. The price is $180, and that's without any discounts. I know you can get some discounts that are floating around here and there, but yeah, I think for $180 you're getting... if you can get past the fact that this doesn't have a bracelet, I think you're getting the best 62 Mas homage out there. And that's for a few reasons. So for one, it's 38 millimeters, and that's slightly different than all the rest of them out there. And the only other one that is 38 millimeters is like $300. So you're undercutting that by over $100. And then even the San Martin 62 Mas, which is just an excellent watch, it's still $40 more expensive than this. So yeah, I think if you're not too concerned about getting a bracelet, I think this is an excellent watch, and it definitely should be on your radar. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So for $180, you're getting a 316L stainless steel case, crown, and bezel. You're getting a ceramic bezel insert, getting really good lume. You're getting a sapphire crystal. You're getting a screw down case back, screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance, and a Seiko NH35 that powers it. So we'll kind of touch base on all those throughout this review, but I say we jump right into it. First things first, we'll talk about the dimensions. So like I mentioned earlier, this is a 38 millimeter watch, and that is measured at the bezel. So 38.1 millimeters. And you can see here, the bezel actually protrudes from the case a little bit. So when you measure the case, it's actually 37.5, which is kind of nice. The thickness is 13.4. You have 20 millimeter lug width, and the overall case length is 46.4 millimeters. So it's a really nice compact design. You have sloping lugs here, which makes it hug the wrist even better. I just love this 38 millimeter size, and it's really starting to grow on me. It's becoming my favorite size for a watch. So yeah, really happy with this one. I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on the wrist for you. So here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist, and you can see on the included strap, it looks great. Looks absolutely great. I love it. And you can see it's got some nice curve down to the lugs. Get the light playing off that chamfer really nicely, and I think overall it just looks excellent. And you know, 46.5 mil lug tip to lug tip is just perfect, I think. And unfortunately I just lost the sunlight, so I will go out here. You can see that still you're getting some pretty good AR on this thing. Looking really good, cutting down reflections on the dial. Super easy to read, and yeah, I think it just looks great. I'm going to go inside and throw it on a few straps, and we can get back to the review. Here it is on a little black canvas that I had laying around. I believe this is from the Corsair Speedy. It looks really good. Go throw it on a couple more for you. Alright, here it is on a double pass NATO strap. I think it looks really good, even still with 2 layers under it. Still fits the wrist pretty good and sits pretty flat. Sorry about the noise. But yeah, I think it looks really good. And lastly, here we are on a Marine National style strap. That looks really, really good, super comfortable. And again, just 1 layer, so it's nice and flat on the wrist still. So really like this one. But let's go back inside and we will finish up this review. All right, let's zoom in and talk about the case finishing on this thing. Really, really nicely done. Very fine brushing, circular brushing on the top of the lugs, as you can see here. Really nicely done. The horizontal brushing on the sides of the case. You do have a nice polished screw down crown here with that really cool starfish on it. You have drilled lugs as well, which is nice to see. And then to accent the case, you have this nice polished bevel that goes along the transitions there. Really nicely done. Very happy with it. I'm glad they went with the brushed case sides instead of the polished ones. Really, really happy with that. And the case back on this, really nicely done. You got this nice wave here, and then you got the Patrick starfish kind of doing a swan dive into the wave, which is really cool. It's a little silly, but pretty cool case back, I think. Really nicely done. It's not sharp or anything like that, so you can't really feel it on the wrist. You do have the typical spec sheet kind of around the outside. You have SE Monster, automatic movement, all stainless steel, water resistant, 200 meters, and sapphire. And it is a nice screw down case back. The only problem with this is, as you've probably seen if you're kind of following along with this watch, there is some typos on this. So This SE Monster, that's being changed to SE-62 something or other. I guess that's a model number. And then you have Resistant here is spelled wrong, as well as Sapphire. So those errors in the printing are going to be fixed. They're actually already fixed, and I believe version 2 is now shipping or will be shipping very soon. So keep that in mind. If that bothers you, like it's a case bag, it doesn't bother me. But if it does bother you, make sure to get the version 2. So let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So no matter what dial color you choose, you get this black ceramic bezel insert. It's really nicely done. I've got no complaints with it. It is white paint filled, so those aren't lumed, but that's not a big deal. The only thing that is lumed is the lume pip at the 12 o'clock position. You can also see that it is lined up pretty much spot on. So no complaints with the alignment, no complaints with the bezel insert. The bezel itself, really nicely done. It's a mixture of brushed and polished. As you can see, nice coin edge bezel, plenty of grip to it. I've got no problems with the grip. I even had this in the ocean last weekend, and it was fine. I could grip it underwater and turn it, and I had no problems with it. It's nice, solid bezel action. You got no back play, no bounce, no wobble. Really, really nicely done. It's got good resistance, maybe a hair too much resistance, but again, I had no problems turning it even with wet hands and wet fingers. So yeah, it's really nicely done. And like I said, it is aligned really nicely, and it is 120 click unidirectional, just kind of what you expect at this price. So really, really happy with the bezel insert as well as the bezel itself. So let's talk about the crystal on this thing. So first things first, we're going to test it, make sure it is sapphire. And you can see it is sapphire, which is nice to see. You've got a double dome sapphire. Let's see if you can see it here. It's really hard to pick up. It's a very slight dome, but it is domed. It does sit ever so slightly above the bezel insert. Really nicely done. You do get some distortion on the edges, as you can see here, and then at extreme angles, the whole dial kind of caves in on itself. It looks great. That is a nice double dome sapphire crystal. It's one of my favorite parts of this watch. It is also slightly magnifying. It's really hard to show, but I do notice every once in a while. I notice that it is a magnifying crystal, so it makes the dial look just a little bit bigger. But yeah, I think they did a really good job. There's plenty of AR coating on there as well, as you can see here. And yeah, I think there you can see the blue AR right there. It looks really good on this blue model. I think it's a subtle enough blue AR coating that it's not going to be too much of a bother on the black or red dials either. So yeah, really, really happy with the crystal on this thing. So let's zoom in and talk about the dial for a second. So this one is a dark blue. It's a very slight sunburst, but it's really a dark navy blue. It's not a glossy dial. It's just a flat black or a flat matte dial. And I think it looks absolutely beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted something kind of low key blue, and this just nailed it. So really, really happy with the blue on this dial. The indices are applied just perfectly. You can see each one of them is aligned just spot on, which is really nice to see. Nice and big indices too, which is really nice. And you can see the 12, 6, and 9 ones are just squared. And a nice little detail is the all the other indices are a little bit tapered. So that's just a little detail that I didn't see noticed, or I didn't see mentioned really anywhere. And yeah, I think it's kind of nice. You do have a nice frame date window at the 3 o'clock position, and you can see the date is ever so slightly shifted to the left, and that is a known problem. That is also fixed, and it is also in version 2 already. So again, it didn't bother me, but I know it's one of those things that might bother a lot of people. So make sure to get that version 2 if you are bothered by that. Otherwise, I think the dial is really nicely done. Everything is aligned perfectly. The handset is aligned perfectly. And yeah, it just looks really good. Speaking of the hands, they are brushed on the top surfaces. So you can see that second hand is completely brushed. It's got that nice paddle second hand, which is lume filled. Reaches right out to the minute track. Perfect size on that. The minute hand has a brush top to it with polished chamfers. Same with the hour hand. And I think they just look great. Just excellent. Really nicely done. Filled with lume as well, perfectly sized. You can see the hour hand reaches right out to the inside of the hour indices. and then you can see the minute hand reaches right out to that minute track. Just perfectly executed hands, in my opinion. And then you just have simple branding, Seestern text at the 6 o'clock position, which, if you didn't know, is German for starfish. So just, just keep that in mind. And then you have automatic 200 meters at the 6 o'clock position. Minute track also printed really nicely right up to the rehout there. Really shallow rehout too, which is nice to see. You do have slightly fatter printing at the 5-minute markers. So overall, I'm very happy with the dial, with the alignment, the color, even the lume. Really happy with it. So I'm going to pop up a lume shot right now. You can see it up against the San Martin sub on the left, the version 1 San Martin 62 Mas on the right, and then the Heimdallr Sea Ghost on the far right. And you can see it kind of holds its own. It does fade a little bit faster than the San Martin, but I would say it's at least 80 to 90% of the San Martin lume. Really happy with it. It's just not quite up to par with the San Martin, but overall, I'm still very happy with the lume on it. So let's talk about the movement on this thing. So this is powered by the Seiko NH35. It's operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. Really nicely sized crown, lots of grip, no issues there. Like I mentioned earlier, it is signed. You get a nice satisfying pop out. First position, hand winds it, smooth action. Second position, changes this date. I'll show you some of the positions here. It's really, it's very subtly off, but it is definitely off. Once you get to the double digits, you can see that it's not so bad. So just keep that in mind. Like I mentioned, it doesn't bother me. The third position hacks that second hand like you would expect. And there you can set the time. And this is where I kind of ran into another quality control issue. So I got into this position. I wanted to wind back the time a little bit. Uh-oh, what's going on there? Yeah, if you've ever had this problem before, you probably guessed it. That's not normal, right? And as you can see, there's not any, I don't see any Loctite or anything on there. I don't know what's going on, but there you can see a nice, you can see the gasket there. So that's nice to see. But yeah, I think they just missed putting Loctite on it. And it does just thread right back on. And it's not a huge issue for me because I've run into this problem before. So I do have Loctite on hand. You do just put it right back on the crown, thread it on the crown, and it's fine. So I'm going to pop this off and put some thread lock on there, and it'll be fine from now on out. But just kind of an odd issue I had. Didn't really expect to have that with a $180 watch. So I don't expect other watches to have that problem. I just wanted to point that out. One other issue that I saw mentioned in another comment on Reddit was that this crown was not disengaging the clock setting position. So you can see I have it in the third position, setting the clock, and I'll press it in. Nothing happens. You got to do it a couple times. That's the only thing. It happens pretty much every time I set the time on this thing. And I don't know if the crown is just, I don't know if the stem is just cut at the wrong distance or what, but a very minor issue, but an issue I think that's going to happen on more than half the watches. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, minor quality control issue. So let's talk about the strap real quick. So depending on the dial color you choose, you're going to get either a blue, a black, or a red rubber strap. It is this really nice pattern to it. It's not your typical waffle pattern, not your typical tropic strap. So I think they nailed it. It looks awesome. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18. You get a nice Seestern signed buckle here. Really solid buckle. 2 floating keepers. You do get quick release spring bars as well, which is nice to see. And then you got this nice kind of honeycomb pattern on the bottom. And yeah, I think it looks awesome. It's very comfortable, very flexible. So what are my problems with it? It's too long, way too long. So this is a small watch, right? It's mostly going to be purchased by guys with smaller wrists. So even on my 7.25 to 7.5 inch wrist, I'm about right here. So this thing only goes down to maybe, you might be able to fit a 6.75 inch wrist, maybe. And that's it. And then it goes up to 9 inches. I mean, come on, that's, this whole thing needs to be shifted this way, and just the strap needs to be shorter. It's a fact. I mean, it just needs to be shorter. Other than that, though, I think the strap is awesome, but they definitely need to shorten the whole setup by like an inch or an inch and a half. And I think if they did that, it would be perfect. So just keep that in mind, Seestern. It's just too long, too long. So there you have it. That's the Seestern 62 mouse. In my opinion, even with the quality control issues and the slight little problems here and there, I still think it's the best 62 mouse homage you can buy. I think it looks great. It's a awesome size. I think it's going to work for everybody. And yeah, they just need to fix a couple little things. So they've already fixed the date window. They've already fixed the case back. I don't expect the crown to be an issue for anybody else. And they definitely need to shorten the strap down. So once they do that, I don't know if they can even improve this watch any. It's that good. I'm so happy with this watch. I paid full price for it, $180, and I would do it again. Even with the quality control issues, I'd do it again. I like this watch that much. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one of these, I will be leaving an AliExpress link down below. That is an affiliate link. I would really appreciate if you use that link. It helps buy watches like this for the channel, and I get to point out all their flaws for you, so you guys don't have to waste your money if it's something that's going to bother you. If you want to see more pictures of this one is 100% staying in my collection. I absolutely love it. So go check out my Instagram. I'll leave that link down below as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful, found it helpful in any way, please leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Everything helps the channel. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave those down below as well. I'm still doing my absolute best. I know I'm missing a couple of you guys now, but yeah, I do my best to get back to everybody. And I think that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.